Good afternoon. It's a commute 15 years in the making. The Eglinton Crosstown LRT is in operation for its first weekday commute.
The light rail line officially began operation yesterday, but today marks the first time it's carrying commuters. CB24's Beatrice Vaisman has been following the first full day of service and joins us live with more. Beatrice.
Nathan, Michelle, it is finally here. 19 kilometers, 25 stops, and commuters that I've been talking to, and I'm on board one of the LRT trains at Mount Dennis Station, tell me they're loving the experience so far. They describe it as really clean, spacious. The underground portions are really, really fast. I just talked to a mother and son who rode it yesterday and today. They say it's dramatically improved their commute already. Just 10 minutes, they say, from Mount Dennis over to Cedarvale Station on Eglinton West. And so really, really good reviews from the people that I've been talking to here so far today. Listen, long time in the making. One kid I talked to was not even born when talk of the Eglinton Crosstown LRT first started. His mom, though, very happy that it's finally here. And a lot of the commuters, too, they're saying that they do want to perhaps see a public inquiry or more information, someone to look into why it took so long and why it's $1 billion over budget, as well as we start to, looks like about to move any moment now here at Mount Dennis Station. I'm going to hold on to this. Let's hear from a bus driver and some commuters that we've been talking to so far this morning. And then I'll see if I can chat with some of these commuters to get their first impressions on board the LRT. Listen.
I like how this is open because it makes us easy to get to our locations. And we were struggling when we were driving bus. We were struggling with the construction. We're like, why are they building this? But now we get the actual side of it. It's so much more faster, and we're not dealing with car traffic along like with a bus we would. But with the LRT, much faster, especially when it goes underground. It's much faster.
It took them so long for the public to use it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool and everything. Like, it's nice.
Yeah.
Compared to waiting for the bus.
Yeah, not bad, not very crowded, and like it's easier, faster for the wait time.
Is this going to be part of your commute to work then?
Definitely, yeah.
How much of a difference is this going to make for you?
It will be quicker, so we don't have to wait.
And so here we are live on board the Eglinton West LRT leaving Mount Dennis Station. Not very busy. I'm in a lot of empty seats here, though. I've just found Howard. Howard, if I may, is this your first time on the LRT?
Yep.
And first impression?
Perfect.
Perfect.
It's nice.
What do you like about it?
Just the nice work done. You know, when you look back and say, oh, look at the good work I've done. You know, I look back and see, like, I'm a worker at the good work, what's done, and I'm like, amazing.
How much difference is this going to make in terms of your commute? Is it going to be quicker?
Quicker, faster, nicer, yeah, everything. Good, real good.
And the underground portion that we're in right now, pretty fast?
Yeah, everything's going on nice. I see the whole news thing. I get into it, I get studied, try to be involved, and it's just so nice.
Let me ask you, 16 years in the making, was it worth the wait?
Yeah, well, even though waiting, I was occupied.
Yeah.
Doing other things, waiting, occupied, so at the same time, I'm happy the same way, you know?
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for talking to me. Enjoy the ride. Looks like we're just arriving here at the station. Melanie, I know you're getting off. First impression, quick.
It's faster than I expected.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. So here we are now arriving at Keelsdale Station, the second westernmost station. We're going to get off here, Nathan and Michelle, and make our way back to Mount Dennis. But the stations, they are clean, they are new, they are shiny, they are fresh, and commuters so far enjoying the newest addition to Toronto Transit. Back to you guys.
Yeah, it took a while. It does look clean. It does look efficient. All right, enjoy. Thank you, B. Well, the LRT construction created havoc in the city's Little Jamaica neighborhood for several years.
Now area residents and business owners are hoping to reap the benefits of this new transit line. CTV's Allison Hurst has been speaking with people who live and work in that area, and she joins us live with more. Allison.
Michelle, there's lots of excitement and certainly a lot of relief from business owners we've been speaking with here this morning. One owner telling us that he actually rode the line yesterday to get a feel for it, check it out, and see how it would go, hoping, of course, that it means customers will be coming to this area, getting off at the station here and coming back to Little Jamaica. This has been more than a decade in the making for this community, which has been dragged through this process, including all the delays, resulting in a complete change push to Little Jamaica. During the near 16 years of construction, dozens of businesses have been forced to close. There's one city block in this area with roughly 30 businesses all shuttered. Owners say many others have been struggling, and they're hoping the foot traffic they've been promised all this time will come, and it'll revitalize the neighborhood.
We lost a lot of money. Business was slow. But we tried to pull through it. When the pandemic happened, that was another double whammy. But in all, we prevailed, and now we are excited that the subway is open. Yesterday, Sunday, I ride on the subway. I think I ride as far as Eglinton and Young, and come back to Fairbank. So yeah, that was fun. It was exciting, and I'm just happy for all the business owners along Little Italy. Sorry, Little Jamaica.
I remember coming here to Gus grocery store. My mom used to shop here all the time. And if you haven't seen somebody for years from Jamaica or from the Caribbean, and you come to Eglinton, you're gonna see them. If you don't see them this week, you'll see them next week, because it was such a lively, vibrant Little Jamaica community. But hopefully, now that the subway is open and people can start coming back to Little Jamaica, we'll bring a lot of traffic and hopefully help the businesses that are suffering.
So you can certainly hear the relief there that the LRT has finally opened, and the hope in their voices as they hope to see that what they've been promised, that the foot traffic will come to this area and will revitalize and rejuvenate Little Jamaica. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Allison. The Eglinton Crosstown has been a hot topic at City Hall for years.
Now there's hope the issues which plague the project can be avoided in the future. CTV's Natalie Johnson joins us live from City Hall with more. Natalie.
Hi, Nathan. The consensus here at City Hall among most of the officials who we spoke to is that yesterday was, in fact, a smooth ride for the launch of the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. A big relief, of course, after all of the years of delays and cost overruns that plagued this beleaguered transit line. Now, over at Queen's Park, there have been calls for a public inquiry from the opposition to look into what went wrong, why this project was $1 billion over budget, and why this transit line was ready to ride 6 years after it was originally supposed to open in 2020. Certainly some city councillors here agree that that could be helpful in light of the fact that Toronto will, of course, continue to build transit projects, and Metrolinx will be responsible for some of them, including the Ontario line. Here's more from a few city councillors here this morning.
There's still a lot of work to do in terms of transit signal priority, particularly when the line goes overground. But I think the big lesson here is that there needs to be a better working relationship between Metrolinx and the TTC and the City of Toronto. And there needs to be some sort of inquiry from these two LRT lines in terms of the lessons learned, so that when we're going forward with the next iteration of LRTs, whether it's Eglinton East or Waterfront East, we don't sort of repeat the same mistakes that have already been made.
Because the province is continuing many of the same patterns, they are still using Metrolinx under exclusive provincial control, again meddling into city transit systems and building things that are not compatible with the rest of the transit system. And they're building in this crazy way where a private company, whose motivation, of course, is to minimize expense, is the only one who can maintain the system. TTC is just driving it, but we're not able to fix it. And that seems to me to be a very, very bad design. If an inquiry would prevent that kind of mistake from being made again and again, that would be useful.
We should be doing everything we can to learn lessons from the mistakes, the delays, the cost overruns that happened on this one. You know, the other big thing here is even on the above ground sections, we still saw one of our residents that was able to run faster than the transit service when it was above ground. So whether you like it or not, I think we can reflect back on Mayor Rob Ford's record, where he really emphasized that transit ought to be underground. And I think if this is a city that has an ambitious agenda to build in the future, that might be something that comes top of mind, because when you share the right-of-way, you share the delays. And I am convinced between both Eglinton and Finch West, when you have LRTs in the right-of-way, you have to deal with left-hand turn lanes and intersection timing. It is still more complicated than if you have it underground.
And when you talk about transit signal priority for the LRT in the above ground portions, that still is not fully implemented. There will be some improvements made to that in the next couple of weeks that should speed up new Line 5. There will be more adjustments in March, but full transit signal priority won't be in effect until May. That's it for now from City Hall. I'm Natalie Johnson. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Natalie. Still to come, we'll have continuing coverage of the Eglinton Crosstown LRT throughout the day. Tune in to CTV News at 5 and 6 for those details.
A pedestrian has been taken to hospital after being struck by a vehicle in Scarborough. This happened just after 7 a.m. in the area of Pharmacy Avenue and Rosita Crescent near St. Clair and Victoria Park Avenues. The pedestrian was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The driver involved remained on scene.
And a man's been taken to hospital following a house fire overnight. Flames broke out at the home near Dundas in Sherbourne just before 11 last night. A man in his 60s was taken to hospital with serious injuries. Fire crews are looking into what sparked the blaze. Meanwhile, emergency crews were called to a house fire in Oshawa. It happened at a home at the corner of Park Road and Quebec Street around 4:30 in the morning. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. No injuries have been reported.
Police are still searching for a 90-year-old man who's been missing for more than a week now. Police say Joseph was last seen leaving his home near Pharmacy and Glendinning Avenue in Scarborough around 5 p.m. on January 29th. He's described as standing roughly 5'5" and was last seen wearing a beige coat, red and black striped vest, and blue jeans and blue rubber shoes. His vehicle, a light blue Toyota Corolla with a license plate DCKX933, was spotted on the evening of January 29th near Coxwell and Gerrard. Investigators are asking anyone who might have information about his whereabouts to contact them. Ontario's Inspector General of Policing says he will be conducting an independent inspection into police corruption across the province.
The announcement comes in the wake of Project South, which saw 7 current and 1 retired Toronto police officer charged in a months-long probe into organized crime and corruption. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has been following this story and joins us live with more. Siobhan.
Well, this really is a sweeping top-to-bottom review of policing right across Ontario, not just here in Toronto. All 44 or 43 municipal services will be looked at, as well as the Ontario Provincial Police. This is aimed at preventing and flagging allegations of corruptions like we saw illuminated in Project South. That's a case that involved allegations of bribery, conspiracy to commit murder, and drug trafficking, among others. As you heard, 7 Toronto police officers and 1 retired officer are among those charged in this ongoing investigation. The Inspector General of Policing said today that this is such a big task, he's going to seek an outside person to do this province-wide review, someone who will be familiar with policing and the laws that govern them.
I will review that findings report to determine whether there has been any non-compliance with policing legislation, including a failure to provide adequate and effective policing. And if there has been non-compliance, I must then determine whether to issue any legally binding directions that will require action and implementation to ensure compliance and for improvements across the system to be made.
This is amongst the greatest betrayals that I've ever seen in my career, and one that is the reason why I'm supportive of the Inspector General's work.
The Inspector General didn't say if he has anybody in particular in mind for this job of conducting the review, whether he's going to look within Ontario, Canada, or outside of it. He also couldn't say what the timeline might be for that person to be appointed or in this investigation to be complete. Reporting live from Queen's Park, I'm Siobhan Morris. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan, and lots more news to come. But let's take a live look at the city this afternoon. There is sunshine in the mix, but there's no doubt about it. It is still cold out there. The wind chill really adding to the uncomfortable conditions. Nice to see some people enjoying what our city has to offer this hour. But we do have some good news. Nature is about to let up. How does the freezing mark, how does 0 degrees sound? A lot milder than what we've been experiencing. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at some warmer temperatures ahead.
Yeah, Michelle, 0 degrees sounds pretty good to me. I don't know about you. It's been a while since we've been at or certainly above the freezing mark. We're still a little cool right now. It is minus 10 degrees this hour, feeling like minus 16. And boy, oh boy, was it another frigid start to the day today. Look at Muskoka. It was minus 30 degrees this morning. That's the temperature, not the wind chill. It felt even colder than that. And we had another minus 20 degrees start at Pearson Airport. Winds are light today, so there is that part of the weather story, and we have been enjoying a mix of sun and cloud out there. Looks like a little more cloud is going to take over in areas for this afternoon, but your today at a glance looks pleasant, forecasting a daytime high of minus 7 degrees. So this is us now on our way climbing out of the deep freeze. Tomorrow, a little bit of warmth moves in, but we've also got some snow to talk about. So all of those details are ahead in your weather forecast. But for now, Michelle, going to send it back to you.
Oh, thank you, Lindsay. Well, until it warms up, just to note, the city's warming centers remain open to help bring vulnerable people in from this intense cold. There are also extra surge and additional shelter spaces available, and daytime drop-in centers have also extended their hours. A full list of locations can be found on the city's website. The Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement is set to be reviewed later this year amid the ongoing trade war with the United States.
The outgoing Canadian ambassador to the U.S. is offering some insight into what's expected to be challenging negotiations. CTV's Camille Karamali has the details.
In a year when the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade deal, or CUSMA, is up for review amid a bitter trade war, there remains a cloud of uncertainty on what will happen next.
He says different things at different times.
Now on CTV's Question Period, Canada's outgoing ambassador to the U.S. unsure on whether U.S. President Donald Trump will even keep CUSMA or scrap it altogether.
I think that the president has a strong view around the U.S. being able to do more itself. How that translates with respect to this treaty, I don't know.
The U.S. has tried to do more without Canada and Mexico, announcing a sweeping deal with China in November, a deal where Chinese President Xi Jinping has already delivered on his end of the trade pact, according to the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury.
They've completed their soybean purchases. It's my belief that President Trump is the only world leader who Xi respects.
While also trying to limit other countries from relying on China, Prime Minister Mark Carney drawing Trump's ire after a preliminary trade deal with China last month. But former Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland appearing Friday on an American talk show with this message to the U.S.
The world's democracies will be really much poorer if you guys don't get your act together.
Her take, a deal with China should not be Canada's first choice.
Because a world in which we need to start relying on China, this is not a world where human rights matter.
Yeah.
This is not a world where democracy matters.
But it might end up being one of Canada's more reliable options, with growing calls to reduce dependency on the U.S. as CUSMA enters the most consequential phase of its existence since it was signed. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Canada has returned to the podium at the Milano Cortina Winter Games. CTV's Scott Hurst has been following Team Canada's performance, and he joins us now live with more. Scott, such an exciting time for sports. We had the Super Bowl last night, and the games are well underway. Tell us more about our latest medal winner.
The pride of Parry Sound, Ontario, in fact, 24-year-old Megan Oldham taking home a bronze in women's ski slopestyle, an event that's only been on the Olympic calendar since Sochi 2014, when back then Canada placed 2 athletes on the podium. Now, Megan Oldham herself is a 4-time world champion medalist. She's also taken home multiple X Games medals as well. And this is really a redemption Olympics for the 24-year-old, as I mentioned, from Parry Sound, Ontario. She finished just off the podium in women's big air at the Beijing 2022 Olympics, finishing 4th in that event and missing out on the slope style final at the last Olympics by 1 spot. And so not only making the final, final in slopestyle this time around, but also making it onto the podium. And slopestyle is an event that is judged where athletes, as you see by some of the pictures, navigate a course filled with rails and massive jumps and other terrain park features. This now takes our medal count, Michelle, to two bronze medals. Valerie Malte winning a bronze in long track speed skating over the weekend, and now Megan Oldham in ski slopestyle taking home a bronze for Canada.
Oh, I feel incredible. It still feels a bit like a dream. I'm trying to let it set in a bit more. But yeah, this has been a dream of mine for so long. So I'm so proud of myself for putting a run down and being able to get up on the podium and bring home a bronze for Canada.
And Michelle, we might also see her in another competition as she is set to compete in big air as well later in the week.
Oh, so fun to watch her. You're on the edge of your seat. Such big moves. Okay, bring us up to speed. We have a whole other day ahead of us. What else can we expect from Team Canada?
What we're watching for is the Canadian women's hockey team will play its second match, of course, after its first match was postponed against Finland for illness. Over the weekend, it did beat the Swiss 4-0, and this afternoon will take on Czechia, as I mentioned, in their second match in this Olympic schedule. The women, of course, they are gold medal. They're reigning gold medalists from the Olympics, so they're looking for a back-to-back gold medal performance as they now their second match of this tournament gets underway later this evening against Czechia. We're also tracking women's speed skating 1,000-meter final. A few Canadians in the final list, including Beatrice Lamarche. This is the first Olympics for the second-generation Olympian, and that competition is underway, so we're keeping a close eye on whether we can get on the podium once again today, Michelle.
Hopes are high. CTV's Scott Hurst live for us in the National Newsroom. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
The Conservatives are calling on the federal Liberals to exempt taxes on severance pay for laid-off Ontario General Motors workers. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre wrote a letter to the finance minister calling for tax relief. He says taxes on GM's lump sum severance payments could deprive former employees of tens of thousands of dollars. Last month, GM eliminated its third shift at the Oshawa assembly plant, laying off 500 employees. Well, Canada's unemployment rate dropped in January, coming in at 6.5%, but that number is nearly double for young people.
CTV's Kathy Lee takes a closer look at the reasons why youth are struggling to find work.
Thank you. This is the job hunt up close, and for young people in Canada, it's tough.
I would like for the admin position.
20-year-old Angelica Vidal has applied for more than 200 jobs in the last year with no luck. She's hoping that changes at this job fair in Calgary.
Maybe one or two will interview me and give me a chance.
Statistics Canada says unemployment fell slightly in January to 6.5%, while the youth jobless rate dipped to 12.8% as fewer people looked for work. The Immigrant Education Society helps bridge employers with job seekers. Maysoon Hanady says those numbers are still high.
We don't see that it's getting better. Like, we see that it might take a while before things kind of stabilize.
The Immigrant Education Society says it used to take its clients about 2 months to find a job. Now that timeline has tripled. That timeline applies to positions that require experience and starter roles, like what Vidal is looking for.
Every other job is saying you need to have this years of experience, you need to have this level experience, but we're not getting accepted at this very entry-level job. So where are we supposed to get this experiences?
In many cases, the entry-level market is saturated, adding to the challenge.
It's not that the youth are just competing with themselves. They're also competing with low-skilled people who are having a hard time finding jobs and having to move down into the jobs that would normally be taken up by teenagers or young people.
There's my resume.
Despite the competition, young people like Vidal hope that employers will just give them a chance. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Today's show host Savannah Guthrie says she is willing to pay for her mother's release as investigators continue to search for the missing 84-year-old.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Guthrie was referencing a message sent to a local television station. According to the FBI, investigators believe Nancy Guthrie was taken against her will from her home outside Tucson, Arizona last weekend. Her blood was found on the front porch. So far, investigators have not identified any suspects.
The Canadian government is calling for the release of Hong Kong's most vocal critic of China. Media tycoon Jimmy Lai has been sentenced to 20 years in prison, ending a high-profile case. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand posted this on X, saying, Canada is disappointed with the sentencing of pro-democracy media figure Jimmy Lai today in Hong Kong. Mr. Lai is 78 years old and in poor health, and we call for his immediate humanitarian release. Canada will continue to support free and independent media worldwide. He's accused of conspiracy to collude with foreign forces and publishing seditious materials. The British citizen denied all charges, telling the court he was a political prisoner facing persecution from Beijing. He was arrested in August 2020 and convicted last year. A number of other countries are also expressing concerns about the sentencing.
Well, these well below freezing temperatures are creating a new type of attraction for tourists and one of the world's most popular natural wonders. The American side of Niagara Falls is partially frozen. The formations they kind of make it look like the falls are totally iced over, but the strong currents of more than 20 million gallons of water every minute are too powerful to freeze it completely. So it still flows underneath this frozen layer of mist and spray. Visitors love the view. They call it gorgeous and a gem. The river has only been completely halted once when it was blocked by an ice jam all the way back in 1848. Lindsay.
Oh, yes, the cold has certainly been something to talk about in recent weeks here in southern Ontario. But dare I say, the page is starting to turn on this cold weather. As we take a look at our upper air pattern, you're going to notice some warmer weather moving in. So that's good news. I wouldn't call it warm per se. We're not jumping into spring, but we are going to be closer to seasonal and perhaps above the freezing mark at times. We've also got a little bit of snow on the way. You'll notice that this isn't a huge system, and it's going to impact the east side of the GTA a little more than the west. But we'll give you an idea of when this arrives, how much snow is in the forecast, plus an early look at Valentine's Day and Family Day is coming up in your 7-day forecast here on CTV News at noon.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
A new exhibition at the Cedar Ridge Cultural Center in Scarborough is shining a light on the intersection between Black culture and Western modernism. For more, we're joined live by CTV's Jessica Smith. And Jess, you're getting a chance to speak with the artist.
Michelle, it's one of those things you really have to come down and see it, because each room, and there's 3 rooms here, have such a different theme, and the colors are so beautiful. I want to bring in Cesar. Talk to me about Keepers of Identity and what inspired this exhibition, because each room really is very different.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Jessica. Keepers of Identity is my story as an artist and as an immigrant that moved to Canada in 2021, and just my story of how I'm navigating Western modernism and trying to keep my identity while I do that.
And you have the photos behind us. I immediately recognized, the figure, but talk to me about the blending of the two, because again, you see elements that seem very familiar no matter what background you come from, but also there's a tie into your culture.
Yeah, amazing. So this particular room is just me trying to get seen. So I'm using this Mondrian style background, someone that is already known, and placing Black subjects against that, hoping like now people would see me. And then in the other room where people are backing the viewers, it's like, nah, I'm not going to conform to everything going on here. And the third room that has the Ankara like covering the bodies, it's like, and now I'm using my identity to like cover my body and try to also open myself to opportunities that the Western world might bring to me.
It is so beautiful, and I love the tie-in to culture. We are in Black History Month, celebrating everyone and their culture and identity. What does it mean to have a show here at the Cedar Ridge Cultural Center in this month and being able to welcome in people for free to check out your work and to learn about your story?
It's so amazing. I appreciate the people at Cedar Ridge and the City of Toronto for letting me show my works here. And I'd love to say, one thing. It's amazing to have a month dedicated to blackness, but I also want to say sometimes I feel like it's meant like to contain blackness instead of like really glorify blackness. Yeah. So I hope we can celebrate blackness every month.
Black 365 days a year. Well, Cesar, thank you so much. Come on down. It's here until February 25th, and it is my favorite price, which is free to come check it out. I'll send things back to the studio.
Thank you, Jess. All right, let's talk about the forecast. It seems like we've had a month of a deep freeze, and it's perhaps possible that it's going to ease.
Hallelujah, because I think we've had just so much. I mean, it's still the beginning of February, but so many days of extreme. I think we're ready to escape this. And how amazing will, 1 degree feel?
Oh, it's going to feel amazing. And just in time for the family day long weekend, things are getting a little bit better outside. Often in the winter, we have either a whole lot of cold or we have a whole lot of snow. This year, we've had both. So I don't blame anyone for being ready for a little bit of a break. And it's coming. Today is sort of the transition day. And then by tomorrow and the day after that, we're going to be close to the freezing mark, which is actually an improvement. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. I do want to acknowledge that, some people have been getting out and enjoying the weather in spite of it being so cold. This was Barrie this weekend at Winterfest, one of the wonderful celebrations that happens at this time of year for families and just for anybody looking to soak up the sun and, of course, put on all those layers. Looked like a lot of fun. And as I mentioned, Family Day is fast approaching, so likely people are looking for things to do. Hopefully the weather that's in store is going to make it a little more palatable for spending some time outside. I'll step aside here so you can see, even based on the colors, that a little bit of warmer weather seems to be headed our way here in southern Ontario. It was cold to start this morning, though. Temperatures in the -20s across southern Ontario, close to -30 in some areas too. -7 degrees is what we're forecasting for this afternoon. Wind chill still going to make it feel like -10. Our seasonal norm is about -1 degree now at this time of year. Keep that in mind as we make our way through the week ahead. -8 degrees is where we fall to overnight tonight. You'll notice that that's not a really big fall. We drop about 1 degree and then we climb several degrees as we're waking up tomorrow morning. We'll get to more on this in just a moment, but we do have some snow in the forecast that begins overnight tonight and continues through tomorrow morning. But look at that high for tomorrow afternoon, 0 or right at the freezing mark. The snow, I want to mention too, is mainly for central and eastern sections of Ontario. So you'll see drier conditions around St. Thomas and Guelph, a little more sun in some spots too. And temperature-wise, some communities are going to be close to, if not slightly above that freezing mark, which it's been a long time. It's been about 3 weeks and counting since that's happened here in southern Ontario. All right, a little more cloud cover has increased. We do have this system that's starting to develop, and with it, we expect to pick up anywhere from 2 to 4 centimeters of snow. This is going to be through tomorrow afternoon. It's not a big weather system. Here's a look at the forecast radar. Some light snow east of Georgian Bay starting tonight, and then there's overnight through tomorrow morning. It is going to slide on eastward, and the rest of the day is looking pretty good. Your Wednesday is mostly cloudy with the chance of a few flurries. 7-day forecast looks like this. Some pretty warm temperatures compared to what we've become used to. There's your early look at Valentine's Day. Nice mix of sun and cloud. We just have to get through today, and -7 degrees for a high. That's the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
All right, one more day. Thank you, Lindsay. Still to come, new research suggests teens who have closer ties with their family will grow up to be more sociable adults. We'll have more on the findings when we come back. New research shows teenagers who feel closely connected to their families are more likely to thrive socially as adults.
For more, we're joined by CTV Science and Technology Specialist Dan Riskin. Tell us about these findings. I certainly hope I can connect with my teen.
Yeah, well, exactly. So teenagers are a lot of work for sure, and this is just another reason to put in that work. They took a bunch of teenagers and they asked them questions like, do you feel loved at home? Do you feel like your family understands you? Do you feel a connection to your family? Just some basic questions like that. And different teens answer differently. And then they waited 20 years and asked those same people who are now grown-ups, how connected are you to your friends? Do you have friends that you see every week? how close are you to the people that you're closest with? Questions like that. And there's a distribution of answers there too. And what they found is those teens who were at the top of the distribution in terms of how connected they felt to their families were 40% likely to be in the thriving socially group as adults. And if you look at the teens who were in the bottom quartile, the bottom 25%, they were only 16% likely to be in that top group. So there's a real tight correlation between how connected you feel to your family and how connected you will be to your friends as an adult. But what this doesn't answer is that caused by the way you interacted with your family? Or is it just that some people are more social and so they get along with their family when they're teenagers and then they get along with their friends when they grow up? So it's not clear how much is a causation or correlation, but it's definitely worth thinking about. And when you're having one of those days with your teenager, just think, this is another reason for me to put in that extra effort.
Yeah, that's a really reassuring study about family ties. So this next study says that it might be better to tell a little lie.
Yes.
According to researchers. Why is that?
Yeah, so this is basically set up in the context of a baking show where you've got some contestants that make great things and some contestants that make okay things, and you're a judge, and are you supposed to tell the truth, or do you want to protect their feelings a little bit? And it was assumed by the researchers going in that one of the great marks of being an ethical person is that you don't tell lies. Lies, bad. Truth, good, right? It's a black and white. It's very simple. But in social situations, sometimes you shouldn't say the truth, right? And so they judged how ethical the different judges were in terms of how they interacted with those contestants. And the people who told those white lies to protect people's feelings scored the highest. And so it turns out that we really do judge people more on how they treat others than whether they adhere to the truth or lies.
Got to be sensitive.
Yeah.
Right. Finally, let's talk about some research on AI. And it was discovered that AI systems that talk to each other learn faster than ones that don't.
Yeah, it's actually the way it talks to itself that makes the difference. It's like, you know, when you're working on something, you're sort of mumbling to yourself, like, oh, yeah, I got to do this. AI systems that do that outperform the ones that stay quiet while they're working. And so basically they had an AI system that had to do 3 complicated things at the same time. And while it was doing it, some of them were trained to just mumble to themselves, to have like a little things they were saying to each other and recording it in a little piece of paper in its head. And as they did that, they just learned a little bit differently. And when the AI models had that difference to them, they ended up being smarter and faster to learn than the models that did not have a running dialogue. And so I don't know whether this really does translate to how the human brain works, but we do take hints from AI in the way it does work. But this might mean that if you mumble to yourself when you're doing a task, it might be part of what gives you that leg up cognitively.
I'll have to remember that.
Do you mumble to yourself?
I mumble all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I try not to do it in the middle of our interviews, but yes, absolutely.
I love it. Well, you're so smart. CTV Science and Tech Specialist Dan Riskin, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And still to come on CTV News at noon, the Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl champs after beating the Patriots. We'll have more on the big game and everything else surrounding it when we come back.
The celebration continues after the Seattle Seahawks defeated the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl last night.
Seattle reigns above them all in the NFL. The Seahawks, Super Bowl champions for the second time.
All right, easy work. Seattle beat the Patriots 29-13 to capture the franchise's second Lombardi trophy. Running back Kenneth Walker was named Super Bowl MVP after rushing for 135 yards. Now, in addition to the big game, Super Bowl ads are always a major talking point. To take a closer look at some of the commercial spots, we're joined live by Peter Hand. There he is, head of video strategy with YouTube Canada. Peter, thanks for joining us. Wordplay was big with a number of ads, including Raisin Bran spot featuring Canadian icon William Shatner. How did that go down?
Icon, more like Canadian legend. William Shatner was such a big hit last night. We saw him partnering up with Raisin Bran. What they did was they shortened his name to Will Shat, sort of a nod to the health benefits of the bran portion of Raisin Bran. But that kind of witty wordplay is something that we saw a lot of last night in general. Brands trying to find really clever ways to make sure that you're going to remember their ad, and this was no exception. Super memorable, super funny.
Yeah, sometimes the ads are, in this case, maybe even better than the game. So a number of brands feature creators rather than actors in their commercials. Is this a trend that you think is going to continue?
Yeah, we've seen a huge rise in the media influence of creators, right? You know, some people even saying that creators are the new Hollywood, right? So it's no surprise to see big creators like Mr. Beast rubbing shoulders with some of the other celebrities that were being used to Super Bowl ads this year. The one big spot, though, the Mr. Beast spot you're referencing, man, he partnered with Slack and Salesforce. They basically, he tweeted out saying, hey, I wish someone would give me a chance to do a Super Bowl spot. I think I could knock it out of the park. The head of Salesforce said, you know what? Let's do it. What's your craziest idea? And boy, did they ever. So they released it. They dropped it in the fourth quarter. And what this was, it was a puzzle masquerading as an ad. So hidden in the ad were all the clues to this big kind of mystery. And if you can crack the riddle, ultimately you would win $1 million if you can sort of solve that code for them. It's still posted up on YouTube. So get over there and start cracking.
Yeah, I could use that million. Finally, Expedia topped the list of most watched ads on YouTube with their Going Places with Ken spot. Why was that?
You know, it's so interesting. So nostalgia seemed to be a really, really powerful driver in some of these ads. And so Expedia partnered with Ken of Barbie and Ken fame for his 65th anniversary, right? I mean, this guy's been around for a while and clearly been a part of a lot of people's childhood. So super, super nostalgic. They rolled this thing out and people really responded to it. You see Ken here basically deciding after 65 years, I'm going to mix it up and go for a trip. And where does he turn? He turns to Expedia to take him on that bucket list trip. Really, really cool and dialing up the nostalgia in a big way with this one.
You said bucket list. All right, Peter Hand, head of video strategy with YouTube Canada. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Meanwhile, many people tuned in to see Bad Bunny's halftime performance, and he gave Canada a shout out during the closing moments.
United States, Canada, and my motherland, mi patria, Puerto Rico.
Mentioning Canada there alongside a number of countries throughout the North, South, and Central America as part of a call for unity. His performance was the first Super Bowl halftime show to be performed completely in Spanish. And that's Lady Gaga making a special appearance as part of the halftime show. She performed a salsa version of her hit, Die With a Smile.
Quieren quitarme el río y también la playa.
And that's Ricky Martin making a guest appearance as well. He sang Lo que le pasó a Hawaii, which translates to What Happened to Hawaii. The song calls for Puerto Rico to maintain its cultural autonomy as part of the United States, comparing it to issues faced by Hawaii becoming an American state.
Otorga, los declaro marido y mujer.
And there was also a real wedding ceremony during the halftime show. Bad Bunny's representatives say the couple had invited the artist to their wedding, but he chose instead to invite them to be part of his show. He also served as a witness and signed their marriage certificate. Coming up, supporting sports sustainably. A Canadian arena is going green as part of an effort to cut costs for families. We'll explain. A Nova Scotia arena is going green in an effort to cut costs and pass on some savings to families.
CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more on the effort to improve sustainability and support local sports.
This community-run arena is always fully booked with hockey games and figure skating sessions. It's also an expensive facility to run, which is why the operators applied for a federal Green Initiative grant. Recently, they scored a big win.
$1.3 million.
That money will cover the cost to convert from electricity to solar power later this year, making it the first solar-powered arena in Nova Scotia. The switch could be a game changer, shaving off more than $14,000 a month in expensive power bills.
But what this is going to do for us is generate income to support the operation over the long term.
Those who use the arena hope the savings will allow it to continue to be a community destination for sports events.
It's the hub. It's the hub of Sackville. Learning about the history of this arena and the people that have made this arena possible. We're in a position now where I think that we can actually make this rink strong for another 50 years.
By making this rink more sustainable and financially viable, operators can use the money they save to renovate and upgrade the facility.
No arena makes money. The operating season is too short.
A new concrete pad under the ice surface and upgraded boards will now be affordable.
That's another $600,000 project.
By keeping costs down, Smith hopes to pass savings on to local families, giving sports a brighter look for people who use this soon-to-be solar-powered arena. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia.
Well, it still feels like we're on ice outside right now, but that's going to let up this weekend. We will get some much-needed relief.
We will. I will say if you're journeying to a local arena tonight, conditions should be good on the roadways. It's overnight, so after midnight that we see a little bit of light snow beginning, and the temperature, believe it or not, is also going to climb through those overnight hours. We'll drop to a low of about -8 degrees. We're not too far off that mark right now, so it's actually going to be warmer overnight tonight than it is at this hour. And again, periods of light snow beginning overnight, continuing tomorrow morning, tapering off in the afternoon. Look at that forecast daytime high, 0. We want to take you to Italy, of course, if you've been following the Olympics. Here's a look at what you can expect weather-wise in both Milan and Cortina. Not nearly as rainy as it was at this time last week before the games were gearing up. 7-day forecast looking like this, so some light snow for tomorrow, 2 to 4 centimeters expected around the GTA, and then it looks like a pretty cloudy couple of days after that, but it will be pretty quiet weather-wise, and yes, daytime highs near 0, back around -2 degrees on Thursday. But look at the pattern heading into the weekend, and of course it is a big weekend. We have Valentine's Day on Saturday, and tonight on CTV News at 6, we'll give you your first look at the Family Day forecast. Nathan and Michelle.
Well, zeros look good, don't they? All right, that's it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long and on at CB24 and at our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great day.